And welcome to part 3 of the Unisys CWP4663 restoration, refurbish, whatever you want to call it. When we last left off, we got it working into DOS, we got sound working, we got mouse driver working, tested a couple of games and all of that. And well, in this video, we're going to take a look at Windows 3.11. In this case, it's Windows for Workgroups 3.11. And we're going to go ahead and mess around with networking because you can see there's a driver listed there, as well as making sure sound works in Windows, proper video, etc. Now, full disclosure, initially I had intended part 2 to have Windows installed and messed around with and everything, but because the video ran so long, I pushed it to this video here. The installation's already done, obviously, and everything's configured, so I'm just going to show some footage that was intended for the last video as B-roll for this video here. It installed pretty quickly because I have the installation files just on the C drive itself. No real issues or anything like that. I did not configure networking initially because I needed to get the correct driver. And speaking of networking, that I struggled with a little bit because the correct driver just wasn't selected. That's on me. I thought I had the right one. I did not. So went around and did some research and found the correct driver for at least one that would work. So we'll get into Windows and you'll see that it does come up. It does take a bit to get to the desktop itself and to Program Manager because of the networking components. But as you just heard that chime, sound is working. And that Cirrus Logic screen you saw, kind of annoying. I don't know if there's a way to disable that. But because it's up for such a short period of time, not too big of a deal, but I may mess around with it a little bit just to see if I can get rid of it. Super secret secure password. Here's Program Manager, and if everything looks kind of smaller, it's because it's running at 800 by 600, and that was an adventure in and of itself. I installed the driver, and when I did, the set res utility came up. It only allowed me to choose 640 by 480. I could not choose any other resolution, and I could not even choose anything above 256 colors. That's because the max resolution is actually controlled by the BIOS. So when you go into the BIOS, you can actually set it there. And as an experiment, I just set it to max 800 by 600 at 65,000 colors. And now the driver allows me to actually choose all of that. It is already set at 800 by 600, 256 colors because I initially tried to do it through Windows Setup, and it would not, the driver install, it would not let me actually run that resolution until I changed it in the BIOS. So there's that. We'll leave everything that is as is for now because everything is working. Networking, of course, is working too, and as you heard, sound is also working. That was another challenge. No matter what driver or settings or anything that I ran, it just would not work. We saw the difficulties I had getting sound to work in DOS. They extended into Windows itself. So I cheated a little bit in Windows, and instead of using the proper AZTEC drivers, I just told it it was a Sound Blaster 1.5. Seemed to work just fine. This FM driver, on the other hand, though, is the correct one from AZTEC, and it does work fine, and we can even test that. If I go to Clef Studio, because why not? And let's open up a MIDI file. And as you can hear, it works just fine. And we already know that the digital audio works, but one more time. And there you go. So yeah, cheating a little bit, but it works, and I'm totally fine with that. So as far as anything else goes, Windows seems to work just fine. Networking does work, and we'll go ahead and map a drive now. And that's it. And I did it through the command prompt here because it's a lot faster than doing it through File Manager. But it will show up in File Manager. Okay, it was supposed to show up in File Manager. That's interesting. Hang on a second. Go back in. Oh, okay, there we go. A fluke, we'll call it. I do have this. It's just a little share that I have set up for various retro systems. The Linux one isn't popular just yet. And even some of the folder structure I still haven't completely worked out yet. I'm probably going to completely change how I do networking with my retro systems. But that's for a future video, future project. I just wanted to get something going for now, just to get it working. So yeah, we've got Microsoft TCP/IP 32 installed as well too. I do already have the Win32s installed, or the Win32s. I'm not actually sure how to pronounce it, but 32-bit support's there. Not that I'm going to really need it much, but I also installed a couple of games, Jeopardy and the Microsoft Entertainment Pack, and as well as Music Sculptor, which we've already seen in a previous Windows on Wednesday video. This is basically where you can sit there and edit MIDI files, play them, etc. Nothing major. So Jeopardy, that's the copy that I have that I picked up from eBay a while back. It was shown off in a pickups video. It does work. The MIDI files played. There's digital audio. We won't go into that just yet. Just trying to go over everything that I installed. Again, there's not much else here. The Sound Galaxy Pro 16.2 drivers. Like I said before, for digital audio, I could not get them to work, but for MIDI, they did. The utilities seem to work fine. I'm not going to mess with that because I don't want to change any of the settings and break it. So, in fact, what I need to probably do is create an image of this setup so that I always have it no matter what, especially since I want to mess around and experiment and everything. And if something breaks, I don't want to have to go through the entire process of resetting everything from scratch. So, yay. So let's go ahead and we'll mess around a little bit with Windows 3.1. Then we'll go back into DOS. Run some utilities, some light benchmarking. I want to save benchmarking for a different video because there's another project that popped into my head as I was working on this. And the reason for that is because of the fact that the CPU in here, I noticed, is an AMD, but it's not an AMD 486 technically. Instead, it is an AMD AM5x86. It's supposed to run at 133 megahertz, but for some reason on this system it only runs at 100. Maybe some jumper settings, maybe that's just the max it'll run on this particular board. It's hard to say. But it's got a performance rating, PR value of 75, because it is an equivalent to a Pentium 75. And I do have that one Packard Bell system that I got from my buddy last year. Still need to look at it, refurbish it, get it back up and running to factory defaults and everything. But it supposedly has a Pentium 75 in there. So I like to put those two head to head and see which one is the better one. And some of us probably already know what the answer is going to be, but then again, at the same time, I still want to find out for myself. So, but yeah, we'll just mess around with it a little bit and wrap this whole series up for now. Go ahead and we'll play some Jeopardy real quick. I may have to mute the sound during this part here. We'll see. Also, it's really designed for 640 by 480. Guy kind of looks like Discount Ted Danson.
Hi everyone and welcome to Jeopardy.
Yeah, this is designed for 640 by 480, so no full screen here. Are we not doing anything?
Here we go, round one.
Oh, I guess it took a second.
One daily double will appear on the board in these categories.
Doesn't seem to want to play unless I'm in the menus here. Could be a issue. I'd have no idea. I'm not at all familiar with helicopters. All right, Babs, let's see what you've got.
That's it.
Sure, I'm going to know that. No clue again. Never rode a subway in my life.
That's it. Right.
All right, enough showing off there, Barbara. We're going to end this game here before I embarrass myself in front of the internet people. So I didn't install a whole lot of other games and stuff on here. I do have the entertainment pack here. And I mean, we're not going to go through all of these. You might be familiar with some of them. Let's see. Minesweeper, interesting enough, was not part of Windows until 95, I believe. Yeah, so there's that. The rest of these games, oh, and Free Cell was another game that I believe wasn't included in Windows until Windows 95. What about Chips Challenge? I don't think I've ever actually beaten this game. So you just collect chips and that's it. And I don't have a green key, so I do have a red one. I do have a yellow key. Let's go grab this chip here. Hey, a green key. Okay, fine. Really? I don't have any more yellow keys. Well, I'll use the blue one here. Let's go get a yellow key. Okay, I need another green key, maybe. Or not. Do I have all the chips? Yes, I do. Hey, look at that. And sound effects. Why wouldn't you have this on by default? Oh, really? I wonder if that's intentional or not. So there's that. Stones. Is this? Oh, let's see. I thought it was Mahjong, and it's not. I have literally no idea how to play this game. Oh, okay. Match the tiles. No? Alright, fine. Screw you then. JezzzBall. I have achieved a high score. Holy crap. 35. No, we're done here. Alright, so anyway, you see all these copies of Notepad open. 2 copies of Autoexec and Config.sys. Not quite in the same order here, but this Config.sys here is actually provided by Phil's Computer Lab as part of his little DOS startup pack, DOS driver pack. And that allows you to choose different menu items to give you the maximum amount of memory possible for some games that just need as much conventional memory that exists. For example, Wolfenstein. If you have too many things loaded up, even if they're loaded high, if you don't have, I think, like 500 some odd kilobytes free, Wolfenstein won't load. But you also have situations where you need a CD-ROM drive, mouse, and what have you. And I also have obviously networking as well too. So the Config.sys on the left is what I currently have here. So what I'm going to do is effectively copy everything from this side here into here, incorporating my options as well too. I just don't know how I want to go about doing that. This is one of the things with retro computing. And back in the day, what you had to do is decide what drivers to put where and what to load. I mean, I'm not always going to need networking support, for example, so I can create a menu item for that. I can create a menu item for any other drivers that I may need to load over here. One thing that will have to be loaded if I want sound, for example, is this here. And I'm pretty much always going to want sound, so that's going to definitely go under the common header here. This is not a tutorial, by the way, on how to set up Config.sys, because I'm just basically copying and pasting someone else's stuff. I'm just going to basically put what I need to wherever, and that's it. And then when it comes to Autoexec.bat, this here is Phil's version. This is mine. Obviously, I have a lot more stuff, and again, I've got stuff loaded in here for networking and things like that. Actually, right there. So yeah, and that's not going to always be needed either. So we'll go ahead and I'll do this off camera here because I don't want to bore you guys, but I'll show you the final results in case you want to copy it and work off it for some reason. And then of course I will put links down below to Phil's Computer Lab's website. You can get your own copies of his Autoexec and Config.sys and do what you got to do. The other thing that he does include in his package is the ctmouse.exe. It's a lightweight mouse driver that realistically I could probably run in my system and not have to run the one that came with this mouse, specifically the mouse systems mouse. There's no like extra features. It's only got 2 buttons, so it's not like I'll be missing out on anything. So I could probably run that, save a few kilobytes of RAM right there. But I'll go ahead, I'll mess around with this a little bit, and then we'll be back. All right, so here's my Autoexec. I named it to Autoexec.phl for Phil. I haven't set it as the default one yet. But basically, I've got everything loading up before the actual menu options come up here. So all the sound settings, the mouse things, the mouse one was just default from Phil, but I changed the path to where the actual driver is. I also added windows to the path itself, because if you want to run win.com without having to type in the full path, that's one way to do it there. But then I added an extra menu option here, which will go to Config.sys real quick there. But here are the other options here for networking, CD-ROM drive, and then of course those default options here for when you don't want anything CD-ROM related or anything like that. Going here, common, we've got DOS high up memory block, files equals 30, buffers 30, which was Phil's. I had 20, 30 is fine. I also added these stacks. I don't know if that's actually needed for a standard DOS install to really run Windows, or if that's specific to networking. I changed his last drive from H to Z, again, because I am running networking support on here. And I did load this EEPROM.sys because this is part of the Aztec sound card. So, and then the only menu item added was EMCN here. Hopefully 4 characters is allowed, I'm not sure. If we go down here to this section here, that's everything that I think would be needed for networking support. I'm going to go through, I already modified the CD-ROM path because I'm using Oak CD-ROM.sys. I just prefer it, that's all. There's no other reason otherwise. I'm also loading a Windows version of HighMem.sys here. I don't think it matters, I think they're the same version, but I may also modify this path here just to be on the safe side. And then of course, if we go through the rest of it, all it loads are the different memory options minus CD-ROM support. And again, I only have this one here for networking support because realistically, I'm probably not going to need networking support for expanded memory or just conventional memory or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rename these to Autoexec.bat, Config.sys, give it a real test by rebooting, and if there are no errors or anything, we will continue. So I'm trying to find the optimal camera angle and everything to try to get rid of the Moore pattern. It seems like if I have it slightly out of focus, it's not that bad, but everything's slightly out of focus. Otherwise, it's really crazy. As you can see here, especially right there, but as the camera focuses on my hand, you'll see that it gets rid of that Moore pattern because it's basically blurring the image. It's kind of annoying, but it's one of those things that you really have to just work around. Like this particular angle, for a second it was fine, and then focus wanted to that might not be too bad. It's slightly blurry, but it's not bad. It'll end up refocusing anyway, but either way, the whole point is that Autoexec Config.sys modifications seem to work fine. I still have networking support, I hope. Let's test it real quick. Yes, so here's my S drive, C drive here, so we're good to go. Cool, I didn't break anything there. There's not really much else in Windows I can show off. I mean, I do have my world's favorite Shareware CD. that we could probably load up just to see. Now, because I do have the Win32 subsystem installed, I wonder if I can run a Windows 95 app or not. I think we tested this a long time ago with PaintShop Pro, but I'm wondering if anything else will run. And keep in mind, just because it says it's for Windows 95 doesn't necessarily mean it's a 32-bit application. It could be a 16-bit application. So, TextPad 32-bit editor. You know what? It's 32-bit. Let's give it a shot. So now if we go to temp, and now we can run setup. Let's see if it'll work. Sure. But if this is correct, it's running a 32-bit application, so yay, things work. Let's go back to the disk real quick. I'm just curious to see anything else I'm going to try here. Smiler shell. Windows 95 NT control. Center and command line takes no screen space. Right click, roving tile bar. Yeah, it keeps Explorer in sync, so this is probably going to need Windows 95 because there is no Explorer in here, obviously. Chord finder, that probably requires microphone, which I don't have. Roxy's Math Fish for Windows 95. What is that? Multimedia game designed to teach your child addition, subtraction. Requires Windows 95. Let's see if it actually does. There is an install. Doesn't seem to require Windows 95 here. Look at that. Huh. So it can detect. It's probably something simple in there. Sure, if I had some sort of a resource editor, I could probably go in there and remove a string or something. Then again, I wonder... Is there a... Doesn't look like there's a configuration file or anything, so... Alright, so that one didn't work. That's fine. I think I'm done with Windows for now. Let's go into DOS and do some stuff. We will go ahead, let's play a couple of games, maybe run some benchmarks too. Though like I said, I don't want to get too involved with benchmarking because I may want to do that in the future to compare this with another system. But we'll run a couple of things here just to get a feel for it. But I'm going to reboot, disable network support so that we can free up as much conventional memory as possible. Alright, let's go ahead and try this here. Let's try the faster PCs option. Yeah, seems to be running fine. $49.6, that's not bad. What else we got that we can do here? Let's do Chris's 640 by 480 and really stress the Cirrus Logic chip here. Running a little slow, and that mortar pattern is just 11.2 frames per second. And let's do PC Player Benchmark 640 by 480. There's a little bit of frame skipping going on there. .4. Let's rerun it again at 320 by 240, which is what I assume it's running at under regular. Oh yeah, that's a little smoother. See if we can get above 20. 14.1. This is not a performance system, so that's for sure. Let's see, Doom Max settings. I don't think someone will be playing because they're not configured in the demo. I could probably do it, but Seems to be doing well, though. If I remember reading correctly, Doom was pretty heavily optimized for 486s, specifically, I think, Intel 486s. .32 frames, so that's pretty good. I'm going to give it the best chance of running Quake. We're going to do just the time demo, option C, if it'll even run. That's not horrible. I mean, definitely not 30 frames per second, but given the technology at the time, I'm pretty sure you'd be okay with this just to be able to have a chance to play it. And it would probably do a little bit better if I had a better graphics card in there. .2 frames per second. Not quite playable, but again, this is all you had. You'd probably be, you know, more than happy, or at the very least, maybe you could con your parents into getting you a better video card or something, or maybe even a Pentium overdrive. Don't know what else I want. Let's do a cache check. And we know the cache is enabled, but we'll see. Authentic AMD clocked 100 megahertz. And there we go. There's your L1 and L2 main memory speed, which the main memory speed isn't significantly slower than the L2 cache, but they both definitely lag behind L1 cache, but that's to be expected. So, all right, enough of that. Like I said, I don't want to do too many benchmarks in this video because we'll do it for a future project. What I want to do is just a little bit more gaming and, you know, discuss future plans for this system and wrap up this video. Game Empire Volume 2. There's no game listing, but let's see. Requires Windows, and yet it's supposed to have DOS stuff on here too. Fine, we'll go back to Windows. I guess we'll have to install the menu browser, whatever you want to call it. Oh look, video for Windows, WinG, Dagger's Rage demo. That's what we want right here. Oh, that was slow. I really got to see if I can find some more video RAM for this thing. Haven't had a whole lot of luck on eBay. I'll have to look elsewhere. I just want to see if there's anything in here for DOS. If I remember correctly, yeah, Heretic was on here. That's fine. And that should be a DOS game. Well, they choose general. Oh, no, we can choose Sound Blaster. Wait, was that at 2? I think it was at 240. I don't remember if it was 7.1 or 7.3. Heretic, along with Hexen, has had a re-release. But it's basically more of a Doom clone, but set in more like a medieval time with magic and spells instead of guns necessarily. I never really played a whole lot of it, as you can tell. Not even sure what the objective of the game is. Oh, I'm just getting ganged up on over here. Enough embarrassing myself. So yeah, I'm not sure what else to do. I mean, it's a 486 system. It seems to run the way it's supposed to. So go ahead and talk about my future plan for this thing and wrap this video up. So in terms of my future plan for this system here, well, I mean, I finally have a working 486, although technically because it's an AMX586, it's not quite a Pentium clone competitor. That was going to be the K5. But it's still, the performance of it is kind of outside the range of what I was looking for in the 486. I mean, it is set to 100 megahertz, so all right, fine, cool. I also have, I think it's a 60 megahertz 486. I had to check from the Packard Bell system that I picked up from Silicon Alley. I don't actually know what the speed is on it because the heatsink on there is pretty well affixed, and I don't want to damage anything. So I'll have to see if there's other markings I can use, but maybe I can downclock this to, you know, a more appropriate 486 speed. But at the same time, you know, it is what it is. So anyway, as you can see, the cover has been removed, and that's because I went ahead and 3D printed some new tabs here. I installed 3 of them. I didn't install the last one yet because this tab is actually, for the most part, in good shape. I glued it back in place to give it some support. You know, give some semblance of the, you know, original and everything. They do line up. I'm going to let them dry a little bit longer, and then we'll get them installed. I'll either do a quick update at the end of this video, or I'll do like a short or something. I also opted to remove the lock because it sometimes gets in the way of opening up the case and everything. And I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Maybe I'll measure it out and put a plug in there, or possibly add a reset button since this does not have that. I just want to take a look to see if I can find information on the board to see if it supports turbo mode and see if there's a way to activate it, because the Control Alt plus and minus options do not activate or deactivate turbo mode. So it's possible this doesn't do it. I don't know, but yeah. So anyway, that's going to be it for this for now. Any tips, suggestions, comments, criticisms, leave them down below. Otherwise, thanks all. Catch you later.